Great week, rivalry week, always a lot of fun. I know for fans all around the country. I know this is big all through college football. It's a big rivalry week, and you know, big rivalry games make college football fun, and the passion all the fans have. Big game for us, our last home game for these seniors that put a lot into this program. Lee was one of the most winning senior classes in school history. You know, and that's always an emotional time, emotional for them and their families, emotional for us. And the coaches and everybody in the program, our fans, everybody, last chance to, you know, just to say goodbye. The guys that have done so much for our program. And, you know, that's a pretty neat deal. So, always enjoy that. For us as a team, we're pretty fortunate. I think we came out of last week's game healthier than we went into it, which is this time of year is a pretty unique deal for our guys, that we didn't have anybody get that banged up during the course of the game. Gus Wally a bit questionable for us for this game, but everybody else really came out healthier than when they went in. So. That's fantastic. You know, we do every year. Everything kind of changes this week, and it being Thanksgiving week is a lot. We have a little different schedule for our guys, and give them the opportunity to prepare for the game, do it all the right way, but also respect a lot of, give people some opportunity to have some family time around the holidays. So we'll go with that schedule for this week. And, about all I got.
Question?
Calm down, yeah.
Yeah,
I was a lot more fired up on Saturday night. Right? You had about 10 hours to enjoy that, and then you got to get over it and move forward.
What's it about the Egg Bowl, the home team, just the home field advantage matters so much?
Well, I don't know if it's just this. I think in all of college football, especially here in the Southeastern Conference, home field advantage is such a big deal. And you know, I mean, one, you're at home, your routine, your home stadium, the fans, all of that stuff, getting behind you, and especially in rivalry games, I think it's such a huge deal. I know our fans have always, they do such a great job of giving us that home field advantage, making you know, supporting the team, encouraging our team, and then making things a little difficult and uncomfortable on the visiting team. And our fans do a great job of that. And, but in this league, they do everywhere. You know, they had some choice things I think to say to us. I don't hear, you know, you kind of hear some stuff every once in a while. We're like last weekend in Fayetteville. You know, and I take my headphones off, I'm going to talk to the guys, and I don't know how the players don't laugh the whole game. To be perfectly honest with you, some of the things that have people yell and say at you. But you know, I got headphones on, so I don't hear it all the time. But they're on the bench. I don't know how they're not laughing at what they hear all the time.
How different do you think this rivalry is since you've taken over?
Well, I don't know, because I wasn't here beforehand, so I don't know much about it before that. The only thing I knew before about it, that it was on Thanksgiving night. And now since I've been here, it's only happened once, so that's probably the only difference I know since before I got here.
Let's talk about Delton Jenkins coming in for your right tackle and what you saw on him on film.
I thought he did a great job, you know, with Justin Sr. being banged up. I mean, he was available for the game, but wasn't 100%. And especially, I think, when you're that way, especially on a cold night, when, you know, if you're not 100%, we don't get you in the rotation early. You know, it's hard to come in and play. And so, you know, talking to John, I mean, we just kind of went with our group. You know, Elton came in, and I thought he performed really well. And because of that, you know, and we were able to stay healthy throughout the course of the game, we didn't have to make any changes. And I think moving forward, it's huge because, you know, you're looking at Justin now with an ankle sprain, of being able to really now rest it from Thursday's practice all the way to Tuesday's practice. You know, we expect him close to 100% getting into practice for this week.
I know you hit on it a little bit, but this senior class, just what do you feel like their legacy will be in the years that follow?
Well, I think pretty special. I mean, I mean, I look at what Bill gave me here. They're the winningest senior class since that crew in '42. We remember those guys. So, I think they've just done an awful lot. I think they've really just changed the perception. You know, they've been a part of it, changing the perception of our program. And, you know, and how, you know, I think in two ways. One, how we're perceived outside the program, you know, nationally and some of that stuff, and respect they've earned from a lot of different teams around the league, and people view us a little differently. But also differently within our program, within our fan base, just how people, what people's expectations of the program are, what they think of our program, and what they think we can accomplish in our program. And they've done a great job to change that.
By your experience, how difficult is it to, I guess, get over the emotional win? It's kind of similar to a loss. How do you get over that and prepare your team for a rivalry game?
You know, it's all kind of the same, I think. You know, whether it is a win or a loss, I know, like I say, Sunday's meeting, you're either really happy or you're really sad. But by the time the team meeting ends on Sunday, you're over it, one way or the other. You know, you can maybe during stretch at Sunday night's practice, you're a little bit happier, you know, after a win than after a loss. Maybe it goes past the team meeting through the stretch period. Once you start practicing again and you start looking at the game plan, you know, your focus goes on. As a competitor, your complete focus is on how do we win the next one, and you know how are we getting better as a team? How are we going to put ourselves in a position to win as coaches? How are the players going to, you know, execute at a high level to make sure we win on the game and make the plays they need for us to win? So, I think, you know, we're over it, and move on to the next one. And you know, hopefully we have another big celebration Sunday or Saturday night again. And Sunday.
How have you seen the outcome of the Egg Bowl impact recruiting as far as in-state and everything?
I'll be honest with you, I've never seen the outcome of the game really have any impact on recruiting. You know, I think a lot of guys know what they want. You know, I think programs in the schools are very different, and guys either want our program or they want their program. And I think majority of guys, or maybe a couple guys here and there, but the majority of guys, they kind of fall into those categories.
Obviously, he's been out a while with his college career over with getting hurt at A&M, but talk about Kendra Market and what you saw out of him in high school and what he exhibited here his 5 years. Well,
I think, you know, I mean, a tremendous player. And one of the things in high school, I know he wasn't the highest recruited kid even on his high school football team. You know, but when you talk to Lance Pogue and his high school coach there at South Panola, he, you know, just talk about what a great football player he was. He, you know, I know they won the state championship. I don't know, they might have won a national title that year. They were up there. You know, he was kind of the glue guy. You know, he might not have been the superstar, highest recruited player, but he was a guy that when they needed to make a play, the ball always seemed to be in his hands on offense. Or if they needed to make a play, he was the guy where the ball was going to be run on defense. And you saw that with him here during his career. Here is, you know, I mean, he's a guy that, you know, you look at it, and it might be a head scratcher to think that, hey, how's this 5'8", 185-pound kid that probably runs 4.65, maybe 4.7, 40? How is he a big-time SEC football player? But he was, you know. I mean, he just understands the game, always in a great position, unbelievable hard worker, and found a way to make plays. And you know, and he did that throughout his whole career.
Prescott's senior night on Saturday night, what is the depth of what he's done for this program, and do you think even years down the line you'll even appreciate it even more?
Well, you know, I think everyone will appreciate it forever here, you know. I mean, hopefully, I mean, the records are all there to be broken, so I'm sure someday someone will come along and break the records he has, but I don't know if there's anybody in Mississippi State history that owns as many records as he holds. I'm guessing when they announce him for senior night, it'll be pretty loud. I bet he'll get a pretty good ovation from all the fans and showing their appreciation for what he's done.
Coach Dak, obviously, and both quarterbacks are playing at a high level coming into this one. What does that add to the equation as far as Saturday goes?
Well, that's huge. I mean, I just think you get a quarterback's if you expect to win, you need your quarterback to play at a pretty high level. And so you saw that last week with the battle last week, which was an unbelievable quarterback battle and two guys playing at the highest of levels last week. And I often say, if you play well, I mean, in this league, you got to play really well to have a chance to win. If you don't play well, you're not going to win. But I think last week you saw when both teams played really well, what happens, and it's just going to come down to one play in a game. And both teams played really well last week. Both quarterbacks were. That was probably as good a battle of quarterbacks as I've ever seen. Of the performance of both players, Dak and Brennan Allen. I mean, that was. You go back and watch the film. We look at the defenses, and don't confuse bad defense with unbelievable offense. Some of the throws and catches and plays that were made in that game, I wouldn't confuse that with bad defense. More just guys being big-time players on offense.
Coach, with the emotions running high with senior day and rivalry game, how important is it to kind of keep the emotions in check, and how do you do that?
Well, one, you kick the ball off, and once that goes, it's football time. So I think that's always really just part of it. In football, there's a lot of emotion in the game of football, so you want to embrace the emotion, but you want to make sure that the leadership within the team keeps us right on the right path of the ultimate goal, which is to go win the game. And our guys will do that. They'll do a good job of that.
Oh, sorry. Freaking out here. Sorry. Been a
I have
long
that-
day
I have
already.
that- I have that effect on a lot
Monday,
of
yeah, you
people.
do. You already.
You're not the first one that's starstruck when they saw me.
True. You had mentioned that you didn't know much about the Egg Bowl, but obviously when you took over, you kind of like spiced it up. I mean, why was that so important?
Well, I think, you look, for me, I guess growing up in football, understanding rivalry games, in my coaching career, being involved in some rivalry games, I think you just always understand the importance of them, and to me, the importance of them within your fan base, that's where it starts, in making sure that they know that you understand the importance of a rivalry game, that they know that you're going to take the game seriously. And I think when I got here, I want to make sure everybody understood how big a game this was for us. I think it's a big game for our fan base and for everybody. I think rivalry games. You're talking about you get a year worth of bragging rights, and a lot of times, especially when it's an in-state rival. Because those are your neighbors. Those are the people you go out to restaurants, you go to, your friends, and people live on your street, and people that you go out to the country club or wherever it is you're doing. You're at church, is a big deal. On church on Sunday, there's either going to be a lot of maroon or a lot of red and blue being worn in church on Sunday. Just whether it's on purpose or not, I don't know. I'm sure it is. God's going to smile on all of us the same after the game. But, the people that are wearing their colors will probably think he's smiling a little bit more at it. And, I think people understand how important that is, and that's why I've always treated this game as such an important football game.
And what concerns you the most about Ole Miss, and what does Chad Kelly bring to their offense?
Well, I think what he does outside of their offense is where he presents problems. The improvisational skills that he brings. When a play breaks down, he's a very deceptive runner. That he makes people miss. He can avoid pressure. He keeps plays alive. Breaks tackles. He's elusive with the ball in his hands. And so I think that really is it. When the play breaks down, what he can do on his own is it's hard to defend because it's not within the scheme of their system.
You talk about the threats on the Ole Miss defensive line with Kimdichie, and I think they got the SEC's defensive lineman of the week this week too. So
Yeah, they got some really athletic guys up front. and they play hard, I mean, they're disruptive, they get great penetration off the ball. They do a lot of movement with those guys, and they're, not the biggest defense, but they do a lot of movement, stunting and twisting and blitzing all over the place, so, they sometimes are not standing still for you to try to go block them and go one-on-one, and so you can win a one-on-one battle. They're kind of moving and running all over the place.
Seems day after day, another coaching job opens up, your name always comes up. What message do you have for fans and players that see your name pop up in those reports and message boards and all that stuff?
Well, I think the benefit is, I mean, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, that was always a big worry, I guess, for everybody, but it seems that this happens every year. I'll tell you, as I always say, you're either getting hired or you're getting fired. I'll always take getting hired because it means we're winning and doing well. As always, I don't like commenting on other jobs just because I think it's a waste of time, and I love the one that I have, so I don't have much else on it besides that.
How good is Laquan Treadwell look to you, especially coming off the big injury from last year?
I'll tell you what, I think that is, it was a tough injury, and I know, especially as a skilled player, you never know when you have an injury like that, how you're gonna come back, which I'm sure was really scary for him, and, as a player. And, I'll tell you what, I think he, I haven't seen, any hiccup in his game at all. I think he's playing just as high a level as he's always played, and is an excellent football player.
For the first year players and the redshirt freshmen, what do you tell them about this game and try to prepare them for the different mentality, the different things that happen in this game?
Well, I think the older guys, they just see that. We talked about it yesterday at the team meeting and said, hey, I mean, how many guys were here 2 years ago on this team in the locker room? And, probably 2/3 of the room weren't here. And I said, well, if you thought the celebration last week was good, the celebration when you win this game is better, no matter what the outcome of it. This is a rivalry game. This is a big game. And trust me, you want to have that feeling of being in that locker room, celebrating a win over your rival it's a lot of fun. I mean, that's the best locker room atmosphere you can be in, and for us, it's this game. For a lot of other schools, I mean, around the country around the country this week, there's a lot of schools that are looking to have that type of celebration over their big rival team.
You've obviously, in the last 5 years, developed a close relationship with Dak. What kind of emotions go through your mind when you think that this is the last home game they play?
Yeah, I haven't thought about it much, I'm sure my wife will be pretty emotional with it too. Because, I mean, all these guys are like family members, but I know, with Dak, we've been through a lot, just so much, and so it'd be huge, I mean, it'd be a great day. I mean, mostly, honestly, the biggest thing will be pride, of just what he's been able to accomplish on the football field as a player, the adversities he's had to overcome off the field as a player, and how he's grown as a man that way. 3 weeks from now, he graduates with a master's degree. Just a lot of pride in someone that is, really grown up, become a man, and is going to be, the one thing is he's going to be successful no matter what path he takes in his life. He's going to be a success.
Good. All right.
Thank you. Good deal.